Greetings, pilot. I am Dazlarus, and I lead Weeb Squadron with the help of my personal AI assistant, Ensign Carl. I stream almost every day on Twitch, and we play a lot of Star Citizen. I decided to try playing the game a bit as if I were a new player, with only the premium starter ship from Origin Jumpworks, the 135C, to get me around the verse. My intention with this new stream content was to show new players how you don't need to buy more than a starter ship to have fun with Star Citizen, and I feel that I was mostly successful in doing this in my first new player perspective stream. However, I had many player experience issues that I felt were equally important for current and prospective backers of Star Citizen to hear about, with the hope that this feedback will be useful to Cloud Imperium Games, the developers of Star Citizen. Hold up, you may have noticed I said backers of Star Citizen. What does this mean? To put it simply, when you buy a ship for Star Citizen, you are not buying anything at all, but rather giving money to CIG to help fund the development of the game. CIG promises to give you what you purchased when the game does eventually release, but many of the ships for sale are not even in game yet, so CIG gives you a loaner to use in the current version of Star Citizen until your ship comes out. This may sound very strange, and that's because it is. Most games you have ever played or read about in a gaming magazine are either finished and on the shelves, ready to be consumed, or they are a year or less away from that state. However, Star Citizen was originally announced on Kickstarter by the project's founder, Chris Roberts, back in 2012, when it was only the thoughts in CR's mind and a few pieces of concept art. Today, Star Citizen is still in early development, or alpha. Most game systems are still being developed with key features like server meshing, or the ability for the game world to run across multiple servers, still under development. An example of something added in version 3.11, the current patch of Star Citizen that is available to the public, is a system called Force Reactions. This system added twitches to your character and camera when you get shot, get knocked over when affected by a significant force like a ship colliding with another ship, or getting hit by a shotgun or a grenade. A feature like this is expected in any modern first-person game, but had been absent in all previous versions of Star Citizen. With all of that out of the way, let's proceed to what I encountered when playing as a new player. If you have any questions with any of this, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or drop by the Twitch stream. We can have a nice chat about whatever you are pondering. I started my new life in Star Citizen by being presented with the terms of service for Star Citizen and an explanation that what I was about to play was not a finished product. So far, so good. When I reached the character creator, I was able to make a handsome individual to be my new alternate persona in the verse. No issues in the slightest, and I did a lot more customizations than I normally do when creating a character for my main account, to simulate what I would do if this was the first time I had used the character creator. Again, a very good experience. My next experience was an accidental stumble into a very real issue that plagues newcomers to Star Citizen. Even though I had spent $60 on an Origin 135C, I was unable to log into the Persistent Universe, the main experience in Star Citizen. Perplexed, I retreated to the website to make sure the purchase had gone through and no funny business was afoot. I had the Origin 135C in my account's hangar, according to the website. After clicking through many portions of the website, I realized I had made a grave error. The $60 135C was actually just the standalone ship. There was no game package with that purchase. I was able to quickly buy a starter package version of the ship for $75 and get into the Persistent Universe. Okay, here's the rant. Why in the ever-loving heck would you be able to buy a standalone ship as your first purchase? I know that the store looks different based on how much you've spent, what you've purchased in the past, and other factors. So why does the never purchased a thing default view have standalone ships and non-Warbond versions available to peruse on the homepage of the Pledge store? I've been absorbed into the Star Citizen community for almost 3 years, buying and upgrading ships frequently, and I made this mistake. How is a new player with very limited knowledge about how the matrix that is the Pledge store supposed to not make my mistake? Okay, rant over. I continued my adventure by logging into the PU. I chose Area 18, knowing I would need to focus on delivery missions to build up enough cash to buy key upgrades for my ship going into combat against even beginner NPC opponents. Before I headed out to the spaceport to spawn my ship, I went to Cubby Blast, a personal armor and FPS weapon store. I noticed that none of the terminals would load up. As part of my troubleshooting, I checked the personal management app in the mobiGlass, which also refused to load up. I had been warned about this bug by one of the guys I play Star Citizen with regularly, but I had to check it out for myself, since issues in Star Citizen can be related to the hardware in your computer, the server or region you are connecting to, how long a server has been active, and many other factors that you have little control over. At this stage, I had to make a choice. Do I stay on this server and know that this bug would affect me? Or do I switch servers and hope that the next one does function better? I decided to stick with the demon I knew, and headed to the spaceport. I proceeded to accept a basic delivery mission to pick up 3 boxes from an outpost on Walla, a moon of ArcCorp, the planet that I had spawned on. I would then need to deliver them to 3 other locations in the ArcCorp planetary system. I was very excited to be flying my new 135C, and was super impressed with how it flew both in space and in atmosphere. I'm used to flying a Vanguard Warden or Cutlass Black, so stepping down to this much smaller and much more agile ship was very fun, both because of how zippy it was, and because it was able to slow down incredibly quickly. This made the starter ship feel much more forgiving than what I was used to, which in my opinion is a solid direction to push players who are just getting started. When I landed on the moon, I took note of the location of the boxes. 2 boxes were in the same building, while another was across the outpost in a different building. I decided to land close to those 2 boxes since it was also near the commodities trading terminal. Before gathering these boxes, I loaded up on some commodities at the trade terminal to sell at Area 18, since I knew one of the boxes needed to be delivered to a rooftop nearby. Buying and selling commodities is a great way to increase your income while doing delivery missions, while also adding a bit of thrill since you are putting your own money on the line. If you are booted back to the main menu by a 30k error, or you are destroyed by a pirate, all that money you spent on cargo goes up in dust. And I love that rush, knowing that at any moment I could lose the money that I invested and have to grind back to where I was. There's also something about seeing those boxes in the cargo hold of the ship that just gets my imagination going as to where Star Citizen is going to be in the future, and I just want to be a part of that. After loading up on the cargo, I headed into the habitation building, pick up the first of the box, take it to the ship. I loaded that box into the main cabin of the ship, since there was cargo in the trunk. While I attempted to place the box on the bed, for whatever reason, my character decided to glue the box to the wall of the ship, affording me a moment to remind everyone that Star Citizen is an alpha, and many strange bugs do happen. I returned to the habitation building to retrieve the other box, and after ensuring both were adequately stowed, I headed to the location of the third box. This third box did not actually end up spawning in, and the marker was just casually at the origin point of the outpost, which happens to exist under the building that I went to. I proceeded to spend a few minutes ranting about how I couldn't find the box, crawling under the building to get closer to the marker indicating the box's location, and looked through the building thoroughly, twice. I knew that the box had not spawned in, but I was making a point to show how someone unfamiliar with Star Citizen's bugs would approach this situation, before doing the correct action. I abandoned the broken quest, since I knew that partial completion of this type of mission does not reward you for your effort. I then hopped back into my ship and flew to Area 18 to sell my purchased cargo. I was able to land at the spaceport Area 18, head to the Trade and Development Division building, or TDD for short, and sell my cargo without any incident. I gave the personal management app another chance, but it was still busted, so I headed back to my ship. This time I decided to grab the illegal variant of the delivery mission since it pays a little bit better and it would give me ample opportunity to practice flying my new ship since illegal locations do not have quantum travel beacons and therefore you have to fly to them the old-fashioned way, or what I call slow burning it. The first thing I did was misjudge which side of the moon the mission marker was, but at 7,000 meters from the surface, I discovered my mistake and performed an emergency flip and burn, which stopped me within 1,000 meters of the surface, which was the Star Citizen equivalent of stopping on a dime. It would have been impossible with a heavier ship. Another point for this starter ship as a good new player experience, living up to its title as a starter. I then flew around the moon to get to the mission objective, using decoupled flight mode to save on fuel, and practicing my low flying. After setting down at this off-the-grid outpost, I loaded the raw drugs into my ship and headed towards the processing facility to complete the next leg of the journey. I then took the refined drugs to another processing facility to get further processed before delivering them to a location so the drugs could be packaged for distribution. I was then tasked to take a small package of drugs, small enough to fit in my pocket, to a rooftop near Area 18 on planet ArcCorp. Unfortunately, this time I was not lucky enough to complete my task because I was thwarted by a game crash, which not only took down Star Citizen, but also my streaming software and Google Chrome. After recovering from the crash, I decided to try a different region to see if I had better luck with the personal management app. I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was indeed working and decided to go shopping for weapons and armor for my character. I let Twitch chat pick my armor down to the color as well as the loadout of the firearms down to the specific attachments for those guns. Some of the choices they made required me to go to other locations to procure the equipment, so off to Arc L1 and Grim Hex I go. Unfortunately, as I was leaving ArcCorp, I had a game crash and the streaming software I used crashed, which was triggered all by using the mobiGlas map app. Unfortunately, this problem plagued me throughout the rest of the stream. My second attempt to get to Arc L1's space station was a success, and I was able to buy the goods that I wanted without any hassle. My next stop was Port Olisar, near the planet Crusader, so that I could set my spawn closer to Grim Hex. I was being extra cautious heading into Grim Hex because there is an in-game event centered around PvP, where players tend to swarm Grim Hex and Delamar, since those are unmonitored locations where you can kill and be killed without worrying about winding up in prison. After a quick touch and go at Port Olisar, I headed to Grim Hex. Grim Hex was unusually quiet on this server. Did not see a single ship come up on radar. After calling for a landing pad, I proceeded to orbit the asteroid station erratically, looking for the hangars before ultimately finding them. I feel like some sort of virtual flight aid to help you find your landing location when it is obscured would be a nice touch for new players, since a new player likely wouldn't know to look for hangar doors after finding the old landing pads, which are on a completely different face of the station. After landing safely in my hangar, I proceeded to head to Skitters to buy the remaining portions of my loadout. Ready to continue on my journey, I scrolled through the contract manager to find my next mission. I settled on the break-in at Korea mission, since I probably would be able to complete the mission with my current loadout, and no portion of the mission relies on what ship you have. When I touched down at Security Post Korea, I started stalking about looking for my targets. I quickly took out the first few targets, but had a hard time tracking down the last few. The last guy took a very long time to track down. He was completely unresponsive, crouched against a door frame, and jamming his gun through the wall. After leaving the station, I happened to find an NPC caterpillar under attack by some NPC pirates, so I decided to attack the pirates to check out the combat capabilities of the 135C. I was able to slowly kill 2 Constellation Andromeda and a Buccaneer, but then was killed while in my mobiGlas while trying to select my next mission. When I respawned, I grabbed the PI Wanted quest. I then had a 30k while trying to get to the mission, followed by a game crash when trying to leave Grim Hex on the next server I loaded into. 2 crashes so close together, combined with the headache of finding a workaround for the mobiGlas map bug I encountered, I decided to call it a night. I didn't give specifics on the map bug because it was fixed in a patch the next day, along with the personal manager app bug. Finding workarounds and reporting bugs just to have them patched in the next hotfix or next update is standard practice for Star Citizen while it's in its current alpha state. The devs are passionate about working with the community to deliver the best experience they can while still pushing out new features. If development of new features stopped for Star Citizen, it would likely only take 6 months before most of the bugs were ironed out, but the second new features were added in, everything would likely break again. It's a tightrope that I don't envy CIG needing to walk at all. This epic tale was the summary of my experience in Star Citizen during a 4-hour Twitch stream. I tend to do 5 to 7 hour streams, but the persistence of bugs made it hard to enjoy that particular session. Even in a very draining session like the one I had, I still had a lot of fun talking to my community, swapping stories about Star Citizen and other video games, as well as getting to see some sweet vistas while navigating the surface of ArcCorp's moons. The way the light shines off the atmosphere, watching the sun rise and fall as I move through my parabolic maneuvers, it still remains vivid in my head almost a week later. I have tons of fun with the game when it works, and it is still beautiful even when it is having a bad day. The ability to be inside of a fully realized spaceship full of cargo, other vehicles, and my friends makes the Star Citizen experience unlike any other. So yeah, don't get too down on me because I get critical at points in this video. I love Star Citizen, and the time that I spend in it. I just thought it would be good to share my experience in a condensed but still raw format. I talk about the good and the bad without editing out or focusing on either the good or the bad stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. I plan on making these about once a week, so hit the subscribe button here on YouTube to make sure you don't miss the next one. If you have any feedback or want to share your Star Citizen experiences, please leave that below in the comments section. I also implore you to use your democratic powers bestowed upon you by YouTube, and hit one of those thumb buttons. Oh, and check out the video description for links to my Discord and the Twitch channel. I stream on Twitch almost every day. I always have Star Citizen on the schedule, but I am also playing through the Halo games with friends who missed out on the Halo hype train back in the day, and I just started playing The Witcher 3 for the first time. As far as Discord goes, I tend to hang out there for a few hours after stream. Sometimes I even stream other games on Discord that I don't feel like putting in the effort to stream on Twitch. Thank you so much for watching through to the end, and remember to keep it weird, Weeb Squadron. Daz, signing off.